There's a reason why pro athletes make it look so easy. It's because it is for them. You see, they've done the same moves thousands of times to the point that it's second nature and they don't have to think about it so much. Same is true with music. You got to work on the fundamentals to the point that you've built the muscle memory to where your brain doesn't have to think about every little step along the way. You just start and you know where to go. Your body does the rest. Let's take a look at a few ways to begin to build this muscle memory to be able to shred and melt some faces. Yeah. For all these exercises, you can download the backing tracks in multiple speeds, and depending on your level, you can find the tabs in the link in the description. And what I really recommend, though, is that you download the iReal Pro app and put in the chord progressions yourself, and it'll generate a backing track. You can change the key, you can change the tempo, and it's super easy practice tool to really help you follow the changes. You can see the chords as they change. And so I highly recommend iReal Pro to help you get better at this. Let's take a look at the first one. This is a super familiar box one of your pentatonic scale, except we're using this 6-note pattern. Now, if you're Eric Johnson or Joe Bonamassa, you're going to do this and you're going to be able to vary it, but it's a very similar, it's called a cascading technique. So you're working your way up and down, starting at different points. They're going to vary their rhythm and the number of notes a little bit, but this one's going to be straightforward. It's going to be straight through to help you keep it simple so that you can remember it, but it still builds that muscle memory. When you master this, then you can start to do some variation. So you want to start, I start at the E minor or the G major pentatonic, and just start on the 15th fret on the first string, and that's going to be a half note there. And then the important part is that you start this run, this pentatonic run, on an up pick. And that's going to get you in the easiest position to do some alternate picking and really fly with this. You're going to pick every note, and it seems to work better. You can experiment, but it works better for me to start on the up stroke. So you're going up with the pick. So we start on the 15th, and we can just work our way down the scale. So the half note, and then you got 16th notes from now on out. It's a 6-note pattern from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you come back and you start on the next string, on the high note on the next string. So it would all together be like this. And note that you're ending, you go to the root of the E minor there, and you do another root, an octave up. And you can do some vibrato and let it ring. And then you're working that's called a descending pattern, where the notes get lower, then you have an ascending pattern. And then the way I've built this backing track is that it goes up chromatically by a half step. So when you get to that very last note, instead of hitting the G, you go to the A flat, and that lets you practice in a different key. And so you can get used to working your way up here on the fretboard. If you want to start way down here, you can, and work your way up, but the lead notes are really fun down here. So that's number one. Let's look at number two. Number two is a legato exercise, and what that means, the first one we were doing alternate picking, where you actually pick each note. This one is you're only picking the string once, and you're hitting 3 notes for every string. So this is the same as your major scale in 2 octaves, and then you add a little more onto that. So it's 3 notes per string. So on the top 2 strings, you're going to skip 2 frets between your fingers. On the middle 2, it's 1 fret up here, 2 frets, and then on the bottom 2 you kind of shift a little bit, and it's 2 frets up here and 1 fret right here. So you can look at the tab to get the details, but it sounds something like this. There's a little space built in there where you can hold that note and then let your brain shift, and the same thing, you're gonna go up a half step to that next fret there. So that works really well for practicing legato. You can go way up the neck on that one, and you want to get to where you don't have to look at the tab. You can look at the tab to start with, but really you're learning the G major scale. There's 1 octave of the G major scale. There's 2 octaves, and then you go up, and the rest of it. So that's the G major scale, except one that you can shred with. And that's the thing about the shredding, and you want to find a pattern that's easy to remember and that's similar across the fretboard. And so you find that pathway of the path of least resistance where your fingers can really move there. So I'm still an amateur. I just came up with these warm-ups a few days ago, and so I'm working through it myself, but I can already feel that I'm getting faster doing this to start my practice routine, to just warm my fingers up. And when I first start, they don't want to move, but after going through these exercises 1 or 2 times, then I really get in a groove and can move better. You don't want to do this too much at first. If you start feeling some tension or some pain in your hand, you want to take a break. You want to work on easier stuff. But this it's really good for building your reach, your dexterity, and your pinky. Then you can get to where you can really fly with that major scale, and then you can work this into your playing. If you hanging out on a G note for a while, you can really get into it. Whatever. You can start to work that into your soloing, but really it's just good for muscle memory, and so you get some of those faster licks under your fingers, and when you see an opportunity you can put them in there. When you want to get more melodic with this, you can go to step 3, which is using one of the modes. Now I've got a video on the modes to get you started with that. It's the same thing as your major scale, except you start and end on a different note, and you really kind of have a different home base for that. In the major scale, your root is the same name as the scale, and it's your home base. But if you use that G major scale, except you start on a different note than G, now it has a different name. It's going to be a mode. And so this is one you can use over a minor chord. It's the aeolian mode, or I think, if I remember correctly, is the same as the natural minor scale. So this one, again, ascends by half steps. And so each time you do the progression, it's going to go up 1, help you practice in different keys. So it starts on G minor. So this is a G aeolian scale, and so you've got this pattern where you do 2 frets, 1 fret on top 2 strings there, and then you shift up 2 frets, and now it becomes 1 fret difference and 2 frets, and you can look at the tab to see this. Okay, so that same pattern repeats. You repeat that, except you start down here. So the 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, 1 fret, and then 1 fret, 2 frets separation there. So same thing, and then same thing down here, and then you end with a bend on the B string. and you just move that up. You're getting higher and higher each time. And that run will work. It sounds really cool over any minor chord. So something like a solo like Comfortably Numb, the ending solo where it really hangs out on a B minor for a while. You just start on a B. And sorry, it's a little rough there, but you get the idea. You can work that in there. So anytime it hangs out on a B, you can throw that run in there. It sounds a little more melodic than just the pentatonic or just your major scale. It has a different kind of vibe to it. So hey, hope this helps you get started with some speed. Let me know if you have any questions. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Have fun. Keep playing.